What's up everyone, I hope you're doing well. Today I bring to you something a little unorthodox from my channel and it will be my very first top 10 video. I do in fact planning on having a lot more of these in the future, so I'm gonna go say the typical YouTuber phrase to leave a like and subscribe so you won't miss out in the next video. But I also do not want to bore you guys with more senseless chatter, so I'm gonna go ahead and get right to it. So in today's list, I'm gonna go over what I firmly believe are one of the top 10 criminally underrated video games of our generation. Coming in at the number 10 spot would be a game called Unfortunate Spaceman, which was released on May 6, 2016. Now if you wonder what this game is about, I'm gonna quote Steam, which states, Unfortunate Spaceman is a co-op slash multiplayer game about shape-shifting space-based murder and betrayal. As a hapless yet brave spaceman employed by the company, you work diligently to defend and be rescued from failing outposts, but not everyone around you is who they claim to be. In case you still don't know what the concept is about, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you it's literally a 3D first-person shooter Among Us, with ARs and a souped-up version of tasks and imposters that came out literally 2 years before Among Us did. So if you guys are tired of playing Among Us with a PC that is overcompensating and costs as much as a freaking Nissan, then hop right into the Unfortunate Spaceman with your friends and prepare to have a unique experience with this game. Next up, at spot number 9, we have the Call of Juarez franchise, with the first game being released back in 2005. The graphics were way ahead of their time, and the gameplay mechanics were also unheard of, as well as being amongst the first-person shooters out there. It was basically a Western-type first-person shooter, where in most of the games, 4 in total with the last being released in May 22nd, 2013, you play as a cowboy called Ray McCaw, as well as a few of his relatives. The game consists of a story of revenge, just like Red Dead Redemption series, as well as other adventures you embark on as this cowboy. By the time it was released, the game was really a hidden gem amongst the pile of other first-person shooters that were released in the early 2000s. So if you enjoyed the Red Dead Redemption series and want more frontier vibes in action, you should definitely go ahead and give this game a franchise a go. Now at number 8, we got a very nostalgic game called Rampage, Total Destruction. The initial release date of this franchise was back in April 24, 2006, which is available on the PlayStation 2, GameCube, and Wii. Back in the day when couch co-op was the go-to for everybody, many people enjoyed different games such as Mario Kart, Mario Party, Smash Bros, and other huge game titles that revolved back in the early 2000s era. And boy oh boy was this game slept on. The concept of this game is basically about a company called the Scum Company that sold a few faulty products, which were sodas, to roughly 40 people. After those people drank those sodas, they turned into a variety of big-ass monsters capable of mass destruction. So what this game had you doing was playing as those monsters with the goal of causing as much damage as possible, with fun mechanics such as climbing the buildings, eating people, and all that good stuff which gives arcade vibes. However, where this game really shined in was the co-op element of it, where you can invite a friend over to destroy shit with you. This game was an absolute blast when I was a lot younger. And well, the gameplay definitely should have gotten larger attention span as other larger games did. It was truly a unique experience I wish more people could have related with me on. Up next at the lucky number 7 spot would be a solid free-to-play multiplayer online battle arena video game known as AirMech Arena, which was released back on October 5th, 2012. I remember hopping on my Xbox 360 one day when my cousin and a few friends online told me about this game's release and noticed that it was actually free-to-play. We all gave it a go and instantly fell in love with it, and the concept of the game as well as its unorthodox mechanics for a battle arena based game. In this game you get to choose a variety of transformer type mechs with their own unique attributes, all while also customizing and deploying your own type of army with your friends to take on your opponent in hopes to destroy their main base. The graphics are pretty good for its date, and the constant rush action of the game kept you and your comrades on your toes at all times. So if you ever want to play as a badass airborne mech that wields a kick-ass minigun, all while dominating the battlefield with your friends and custom army, I highly recommend you still give this game a go since it's been updated to be quite up to date with today's graphics. Here at number 6, I bring to you one of my free-to-play favorites back in the early days of the PS4. The game is called Loadout. It was initially released on Steam back in January 31st, 2014, then it made its way to the PlayStation Store for free for any newcomers that had the PlayStation 4. If I had to choose one of the wackier and downright fucking hilarious video games I've ever played, this game for sure would make a consistent top 5 on my list. This game was a free multiplayer third-person shooter that included many game modes such as Team Deathmatch and other very unique and fun game modes that were exclusive to the concept of this game. Not only did it have stupidly hilarious death animations and extreme graphic material, it even included a sophisticated weapon customization mechanic that allowed the player to virtually make any gun of their imagination and have the privilege to use it and kill people even dead. A machine gun that shoots exploding fire rockets that can blow off half the torso of a 7-foot tall alien? A gun that shoots spike balls or electric balls that melt the face off your enemies. You name it. This game was so badly slept on that its developers had to terminate its final online servers on May 24th, 2018 since it could not maintain its monetary upkeep. I really wish more people got to experience this trip of a game. Like if you love graphic games like satisfying kills in Mortal Kombat, Fallout 4 or other type of games like that, you would have instantly fell in love with Loadout. I guess you can say how good things do come to an end. Halfway done with the list, we arrive at spot 5 with the game franchise being none other than the Killzone series. With his very first game coming out way back on November 4, 2004, there's yet another game that was a very good first-person shooter, who even many thought at the time would be the Halo killer. Although it had the potential to be the Halo killer, that was far from the truth after some controversy with the bugs and all that the game had, and also explains why Halo was still, and will always be, a kick-ass of a game franchise we all know and love. Regardless of that, however, it is still fair to at least notice the relatively interesting story the game franchise had, and its sick-ass designs for their antagonist. I remember playing Killzone 2 and its campaigns was still very exciting, as well as its multiplayer. The story really kicks off even more when the latest release, Killzone Shadowfall, came out back in 2013 exclusively on the PS4, and I played through the first game as well. I can definitely agree that it was a perfect choice of a game to show off the next generation's graphics that the PS4 offered at the time. I mean, seriously though, we all have iconic game enemies where we wish we can play as them because it looks so damn cool, and the Helghist, which were these guys, look downright badass. The game's franchise is still a banger though. Getting closer to number 1 for this list, we arrive at spot 4, and the game that takes this spot would be Mercenaries 2, World in Flames. This game was released back on August 31st, 2008 for the Xbox 360, PS2, PS3, and PC. When I played this game back in 2010 when I was like in first grade, I can definitely say this game does really well in making you feel like an absolute badass. It was basically a big ass sandbox, in Venezuela to be exact, where you play as a merc starting a military coup to clap some dictator responsible for messing around with some international oil stuff, you know, the usual. But what wasn't usual was the amount of things you can absolutely fucking obliterate in this game. Like legit, virtually any building you find in this game, you can practically tear the shit to the ground. You could even hijack certain military vehicles in a just cause fashion and proceed to do Michael Bay shit, but in a video game version of it. Now you must wonder how a game this crazy could have been slept on, and well, I have a simple answer for you. Grand Theft Auto 4 was released about a month before this game did. So yeah, that pretty much explains itself. Now, the final 3 games that I really take to heart are next, with the third spot being taken by my favorite game to play with a friend that gives you ride or die vibes would be none other than the Army of Two franchise. Nothing sends no iron team than this game, and that is my guarantee. In this game, you and your buddy play as 2 kick-ass movie-worthy mercenaries and take on special ops missions dispatching warlords and terrorists in third world countries. From quick-time events, slow-motion scenes, and even parts where you and your pal for life go back to back to literally shoot up a huge area full of tangos, you both will be looking like the most juiced up kick-ass soldiers the world has ever seen. I still recommend you guys give this game a go with your buddy, because trust me man, there are a literal handful of games that will put your cooperation skills with your friend to the test. And to say that this game is underrated for this unforgettable experience is an understatement. Okay, now it was really tough for me to choose the spot for this game up next since I have countless memories of my friends in this game, but up at the number 2 spot, we have a hidden gem of a game called Lost Planet 2. This game was released back on April 28, 2010, and holy shit was this game good. As a multi-generational gamer that started playing video games since I was like 3 years old, I was born in 2003 by the way, I asked you to ignore the bullshit reviews GameStop and certain other game journalists gave this game. By now we should all be pretty much aware that game journalists are a little fucking joke right now. This game was gas, bro. If you guys ever played Monster Hunter World, this game is basically that, but way ahead of its time, and it featured sick-ass weaponry, a very dense customization for loadouts, cool cosmetics, and a free loot box and crate system. Not only did it have that, the game's mechanics were fucking legendary. The concept of this game is basically you play as a certain faction with their own kind of bland lore to take on beasts known as Acrids that infested the planet. Each fight against the Acrids is its own boss battle, and legit using grapples with your friends in fast combat action was such an adrenaline rush. All I could tell you, man, is that you just had to be there. Although some say the story was a little lackluster, it was not really that much about the story, because where the real deal was at was the battles you partook in and the chaos of every fight you had alongside with your friends. In fact, I still recommend you give this game a go with your friends right now, since there has not been a game this good for a fat minute that involved this type of concept. I will most definitely include this game in the next top 10 list for another video idea I have coming up soon, so make sure you're tuned in for that one. Now finally, the moment you have all been waiting for, the spot I reserved for a game that deserved the same limelight childhood favorite games such as Ratchet & Clank, Crash Bandicoot, and Spyro. The number one spot for the most criminally underrated video game franchise would go to the one and only Jak and Daxter. Originally released back on December 3rd, 2001, which was a whopping near 20 years ago on the PS2, this game franchise was known to also be a Kickstarter for the PlayStation 2 console. The platforming, lucrative action, puzzles, racing, etc., and of course one of gaming's most iconic slept-on protagonists, Jak and Daxter. They both, just like Ratchet & Clank, have an interesting history as well as their own video games as individual characters, an example being Daxter as his own video game. I enjoyed all the Ratchet & Clank games as well as Crash and Spyro games, but it pisses me off that they managed to remaster all said titles except for Jak and Daxter. Jak and Daxter, in my opinion, is even more underrated, especially since the game franchise is literally all those other mentioned games combined. It has an interesting story. A notable sidekick, you utilize a lot of weaponry like in Ratchet & Clank, and you do crazy platforming, and they even have their own game where you literally customize sick ass death cars, kinda like in Crash Nitro Kart Racing. But in this game you have even more customizations than you do in Nitro Kart Racing. This game franchise was quite literally a jack of all trades, but the biggest reason why I had to include this in the underrated list was solely because all their games are getting remastered and even getting passed on to the future next-gen consoles, while they can't even remaster at least one Jak game. I have a lot of cherished childhood memories playing this game franchise and have been waiting relentlessly to see if they were finally going to give this game the love and attention it deserves. But so far, I'm going to have to keep waiting, man. If you have not played this game franchise, I would 100% definitely recommend you checking it out and possibly even just playing it on PS4 so you guys can see how underrated it really is. I do in fact hope somewhere down along the road they either remaster or continue the Jak franchise on the PS5. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that will conclude my very first top 10 list. I do hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it would mean a lot to me if you guys dropped a like or even subscribe to stay tuned in for my other lists and videos later on. It would help me out a whole bunch. Also, please do feel free to let me know what game on this list you guys agree with me on or even relate to what I was saying. If you guys also have any other ideas you would like for me to make a video on, please feel free to state it in the comment section or even let me know if you agree or disagree. Other than that, I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day and I'll see you guys next time. Later.